done a single shred of evidence research themselves. They've repeated what the FDA says, and you can verify that with them. We have. There was a philanthropist who went to the Mayo Clinic and offered to give them a blank check to do Kratom research that was objective, and they declined, saying that they're deferring to the FDA. So you're seeing, and that's true, an ecosystem of research organizations that work with the FDA. And as Dr. Honeyfield said, we want to trust the FDA, and most of the time we can. I can tell you that when I served in the Reagan administration, Department of Health and Human Services, as chief of staff, we had to tell the FDA they were wrong about dietary supplements, and that ended up with a legislative fix, which is coming for Kratom, by the way. There will be a federal bill filed with Representative Pocan on the House side and Representative Bergman from Michigan, two diametrically opposed political groups or ideologies, and Senator Mike Lee of Utah and Senator Cory Booker filing the Kratom Consumer Protection Act, which will rein in the FDA and force them to actually account for the current state of the science. So on that score, I hope you'll consider that when you Google it, you're going to find that. But if you use Google Science, you will find hundreds of peer-reviewed published articles that support the Kratom safety and addiction liability profile that will support this legislation. And with respect to law enforcement and the medical societies, I quoted the AMA. The American Medical Association was under intense pressure to do what the Wisconsin Medical Association and, for example, the Mississippi Medical Association wanted them to do, and they rejected it because they looked at it closely. These are doctors who analyzed it, and you can look at their resolution. It does not support the criminalization or scheduling of Kratom, and in fact set standards which we completely agree with on that score. Lastly, I would ask you to consider two things. NIDA has done intoxication studies of metrogeny, Kratom. That's the principal alkaloid, metrogeny, and they see no impairment on driving. So when you hear the informed discussion about what its impacts are, Kratom at normal dosages and responsible use alerts people. It will alert your truck drivers. I mean, it's a better substance than what they might be taking that would create impairments, and there's studies that show that. And then I would ask you to listen to the people of Wisconsin who will testify here today that will tell you that Kratom has changed their lives, that it's improved the quality of their life. And I've been at dozens and dozens of hearings around the country where people have said it saved my life. And I think you need to listen to those people. I'll defer to Dr. Indy.
Just very little to add to that. As a Minnesotan, Mayo Clinic is revered. Hold the Mayo in this case, they got it wrong. And I met with the controlled substance staff people in Minnesota, and they fortunately rejected Mayo Clinic's advice. They said, look, we've got serious problems. Kratom is not one of them, and we don't want to create a problem. And what do I mean by create a problem? Banning it and then having people having to go even further to get their Kratom, or going back to serious opioids. Most medical organizations follow the FDA advice, and Mr. Shinholm, who's here today, will, with drug treatment clinics, it's the same with many drug treatment clinics who will only prescribe buprenorphine and other drugs that are FDA approved. I helped develop buprenorphine. I'm proud of that. It saves lives, but it's not for everybody.